Anyways, how's everyone doing?
Oh, are you asking us or the audience that doesn't exist?
The audience that doesn't exist.
Audience
Okay.
exists. It's full of our friends. Oh.
Pretty sure I'm on the wrong account here.
Whoops.
Indeed.
So I'm pretty sure that one had beaten the game,
.com.
and I don't think we did that yet.
Oh, you're hired.
No. No, we didn't beat the game.
We didn't.
We beat
Nope.
the
I should
other
pull the
Zelda
stream
game.
up so I can watch him play.
I pulled the stream up so that we count as having a viewer, but then I'm gonna go walk into the other room so that we don't have bad sound quality.
Sorry. Do you want me to go?
No, it's okay. I can pull up all my stream topics on my phone instead.
What do we have on the docket?
I just won't. Found a bunch more subreddits. Kristin actually found a subreddit for me.
You did. It helped. This is my contribution.
We should talk about how to be cool again.
Oh gosh.
Is that where we say good slang terms?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's it.
Cool.
It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It's been 3 weeks since we've done this.
Has it been?
Because last week we didn't stream at all.
Yeah.
That was the week of no streaming whatsoever. The week before we did polyhedral. So yeah, it's been 3
I
weeks.
thought polyhedra was further back than that for some reason.
I don't think so. Because I don't think we did a... I don't think we did a party patrol after it. This is... I'll look. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I honestly just like...
Polyhedral. End of April was the last polyhedral. So...
Today's the 13th, so yeah.
So it was the 29th. So yeah, it was polyhedral, then nothing, then now.
Man, my sense of time is just not good.
To be fair, I also thought I had missed out, and the only reason why I like countered that thought is because I panicked that I hadn't uploaded the party patrol to YouTube. And so I went in there and I looked it up and I was like, oh, there wasn't one to upload. Oh, there wasn't anything.
Oh no, I gotta do that. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So it's been 3 weeks.
Hi,
Yeah.
Creativity.
Hey, what's up?
Hi. It's been 3 weeks. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
That's good. Pretty good. We got a new TV. Yeah. It was. Yes. you have no idea. It's free. We had a family friend. We had a family friend getting rid of their TV because they wanted a smart TV. Eventually, they'll give us their little Roku as well, so that I don't have to use an Xbox 360 hooked up to it to watch things. Hi.
Oh, hey, what's up? That's right, now I recognize that. I thought I recognized Unashamed Creativity, but I could not place it.
But yeah, they gave us a free 50-inch TV.
A free what?
Free 50-inch flat-screen TV.
That's really good, but I also thought you said a 350-inch TV, and then I realized you said
Oh,
a
God.
350-inch, and I was just like, oh, that seems really small compared to the 350-inch that I thought it was.
Gosh, that's absurd. I don't know that there is a single wall in my house that could hold that.
Probably not. Well, I mean, I guess it depends, because, like, screens are measured by their, hypotenuse, right? Like, the diagonals.
Yes.
So maybe it's
Correct.
just really thin. Maybe it's
The
just a
aspect
really...
ratio is just horrible.
Yeah, maybe it's just a long TV.
It's just 350-inch TV. It's like a single pixel long.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's regular,
Oh.
it's like, it's the same height as your 50-inch TV, but it is just very, very long also, so it just kind of displays on the middle of the TV, as though it were a 50-inch TV.
Ugh. But yeah, it's real nice, because it's like 4 times as large as the last TV that we had, and it's also significantly better resolution.
Oh, I bet.
Compared to the giant CRT we had before.
Yeah, you did have a CRT, huh?
And not widescreen either. That was just a square TV. So.
Yeah, it sure was.
Now, unfortunately, it's a little wonky now because, again, the only thing I have that can play, like Netflix and stuff, is an Xbox 360. So I've got an Xbox 360 running to this rather nice TV, and the Xbox 360 is not new.
Yeah.
It is not a new console.
So,
it's rather old.
So is it basically like watching your CRT but in high def-ish?
Kinda, yeah.
It's like they just took your the old one and then just flattened the screen.
Yeah.
You're basically
the words
doing
are a lot
projection.
larger. The words are a lot larger and a little bit clearer, but there's still blur around everything.
I wonder what the largest CRT ever was.
Let me look that up, because that's an interesting topic.
It's like I don't even necessarily mean like that was sold in TV, like or sold in like a store for your house. Like I'm
just that was made, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if there was ever like at a like when you went to a basketball game, they had like the giant monitor and it was just a CRT.
The largest commercially available one was 45 inches and weighed several hundred pounds.
Yeah, so that's close to the size of your new TV. But it was curved and made a probably loud buzzing sound all the time.
Yeah, it says the heaviest CRT weighed 750 pounds and measured 40 inches. 750! Mitsubishi was producing 61-inch CRT TVs.
It's so big for a CRT.
Yeah, and like it didn't work well because
it's a CRT.
the picture tubes were too unstable and didn't last long. So like the fluorescent contents were highly dangerous, and you just couldn't make larger models that were safe.
Incredible.
I'm curious how big the one I have is. Let me get a tape measure. I thought I knew where the tape measure was. There it is.
Let me get a tape measure. Where's my tape measure?
Well, it wasn't where it was supposed to be, but I knew it wasn't where it was supposed to be. My new TV is just barely not double. It's a 26-inch TV to a 50-inch TV.
Oh, so it isn't doubled.
It is not,
It really
but it's
seems.
close. So yeah, that was fun, except for the part where we had to hang it and...
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It took a while to
it's
hang
70
like
pounds.
After
my
carrying
old.
it into the house and getting it out of the box.
Yeah, I had to hang like an old TV that is not nearly that large in the office, which is what I'm using now, and that still took a while to figure out how to do.
Yeah.
I guess the bright side is this one can move. I don't know if yours is on like that kind of stand. Or, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that kind of a wall hang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can pull out from the wall and rotate stuff. But not like... not like rotate like a monitor, so it could be a vertical TV.
That would be nice, huh?
Oh, trying to remember, there was a... like... is it like CES? I think that's the name of the convention?
CVS? That's a drugstore.
No, CES.
Oh.
They showed at a CES, and I'm gonna keep saying that until I
I'm proven wrong.
find out. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's the Consumer
Electronic show?
Electronics Show. Yeah.
Got it in one.
They had this model of a TV that could rotate to be vertical for if you wanted to watch shitty mobile videos that had been filmed vertically.
Why would you ever change your TV orientation for that?
I know, because it's like, oh yeah, I filmed this in such high definition that I don't want to lose out on the definition by doing it at a smaller resolution.
Excellent.
Because, you know that. Phones are well known for their high resolution imaging. I mean, iPhones nowadays are pretty much as good as video cameras.
Yeah, my wife took some pictures while we were on vacation with her iPhone, and we just got a couple of them printed out to send to my parents, and just like looking at them, we were like, these aren't even big pictures, and you can still tell like how ridiculously high def they are, considering this was taken on a phone.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it was just... everyone made fun of it because, like, you don't... that's not the ideal. Like, you don't want to be giving in to the terrorists that are taking pictures vertically or taking videos vertically. You want... just teach people to do it the right way.
So, okay.
Which I think for the most part we have.
Yeah.
Like, the only people doing videos vertically are people on TikTok, which makes sense because that's the format.
Yeah, it is like an exclusively, like phone-based
Vertical.
thing. So
Yeah,
it makes
like,
sense.
that's just the way the app is. So, but like, people doing TikTok and boomers, and that's it. Like, everyone...
Or people who never intend for the video to be seen on anything other than a phone.
Yeah. That's really what it is if it is a video that is specifically for your phone and nothing else.
Yeah. Oh, did you see that YouTube is now TikTok?
What is that?
If you use the YouTube app, it used to be that like the bottom options were like home and then popular and then your subscriptions and library.
Yeah.
But now it's home, shorts, subscriptions and library. And
supposed to
shorts
be
are...
comfy and easy to wear and nothing else. They are not meant to be.
But it's like 30-second or less shorts that you can upload, and you just infinitely scroll through them, and
Oh yeah, that's what I want. I want a service where I
TikTok.
can see 30-second videos, but I have to just scroll through them.
yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to look for things on it. I'm very confused at how they intend to.
Okay, I assumed that Dom meant if I scroll through like it's frame by frame, you have to scroll to watch the 30 seconds.
Man, I wish more services let me go through videos frame by frame. There are some times where
Scrubbing through them.
well, like there are times where like people will be playing a game and like they know, like for example, someone's playing Magic the Gathering, right? And they know a card, so when it shows up, they just like click past it because they're trying to like concentrate. So it's only up for like 4 frames. And I just want to know what the card does. So I'd really like to be able to just pause and then go frame by frame until I get it, and not have to go back and forth 800 times to try to pause it at the right second.
Now, there is that functionality. It's the... Because the arrow keys do like 5-second increments.
Yeah.
It's the comma and period go frame by frame, if I remember correctly.
I'll
Yes.
do that then, thank you. What if I'm on
Yeah,
my
you're
phone?
welcome. That you're just fucked.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is I watch a lot of like MTG on my phone while I'm at work.
Get a desktop
Can you
user,
watch
which
later?
At work?
yeah, I don't understand, because why are mobile sites and apps not as functional as the desktop versions? Because more and more people don't have those. Like,
I mean, I guess like
desktops.
the answer is that they have less buttons, but they also have infinite screen
Yeah.
space in which to make your own buttons.
Or like have a drop down.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
You know,
Like you have like infinite menu potential.
Yeah, because like
Thought process, or thought from earlier that I meant to mention. So you know how steampunk is like, oh well, what if we just like didn't ever figure out combustion engine stuff and we just had steam engines?
yeah.
I would like CRT punk to exist. Specifically, I want to see cell phones.
Oh gosh.
Like you have like a cell phone that's got like a rounded screen, but it's still a touchscreen.
No, because you can't do that. But what you can do, what you can't do on flat screens, is you can use light guns. So you've got like a little light gun stylus that you use to
Oh wait, that's
interact
cool
with
as
the
fuck.
screen.
So you have like, so you have just like gloves that like the pointer finger has that laser stylus on it.
Yeah,
Like,
because it's.
I want CRT punk cyberpunk. Yeah, Ray Punk. I like that name actually. I also like Tube Punk because it makes no sense.
I mean, Ray Punk is already a thing, so
Oh, is it?
yeah.
Sounds dumb now because it's not the thing I wanted it to be.
It is future. It's like sort of like Atom Punk or those, but it's where everything has ray guns.
So it's just cyberpunk.
But everything is a ray gun. So like you have the freeze ray, but you also have the destructo ray and the planet destroyer ray and
Oh, so
the
it's Star
love
Wars.
ray and like
Where you have the ray sword and the ray guns and the ray character and the ray.
it's
Death
Luke's
Star.
sword. It's not Ray's sword. It's Anakin's sword, really.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, CRT Punk would be great. I would honestly love that concept. Where just like, it's like Cyberpunk, but all of the computer stuff is like a little too big.
Yeah.
A little bit chunky.
Yeah, we'll call it Chunk Punk.
Chunk Punk. Oh, so good.
Is it?
Oh,
Is
I
it though?
love it. I love it.
Punk punk.
All right, so the only thing I've found so far is a laptop, a CRT laptop.
What? How do you close it?
So
Is it a concave
It's-
keyboard?
no, it's
Please
a
tell me it's a fucking concave keyboard.
it's like a briefcase, except instead of it opening in half, it's like the top of it like folds down, and that's the keyboard.
I think
to
you
the
just
main
described
depth
a
of it
normal
is-
briefcase, and I'm very confused.
Copy image. I will put this in the Discord because I am bad at describing.
My name's
this.
suggestion was, Roy said that everything in the world is a little funky, so I call it punk. Which I love because it tells you absolutely nothing about what it means.
Yep.
This is, like, you had to have been in specifically this conversation to know what it could, like, what the name suggests.
Oh,
There you go. It's got the tiniest CRT in it,
Oh, I gotta check this out.
but it has 2 floppy drives.
Yeah, that's got a lot of.
Oh my god, that is not... that is so tiny!
I love it
Hack
though.
right there.
Like, I feel like CRT Punk, the only thing that has used anything like it is the Fallout series. And it's just because that's all that existed in the world when it all died. But even then,
Yeah.
I want the futuristic version of, like, I want the cyberpunk version of that. Of where,
Yeah,
like,
you want
everything's-
CRTs to their fullest logical potential.
Yeah, I want, what was that game? Far Cry Blood Dragon? Is that what it was called? Where it was just like, it was like a DLC for a game, or it was like its own game, but it was like what everyone wants the future to be. So it was like you had a bow and arrow, but it had like neon lights on it for absolutely no reason other than to look cool. Like I
Yeah.
want that type of thing, but with CRT. It's just like a world so built around it and in the future that no one realizes how ridiculous it is that they have CRTs and also neon lights. Like, somehow we developed that technology without coming up with a better alternative to CRTs.
Ugh.
Or we just saw that alternative and we were just like, I don't know, it's just not chunky enough, you know?
I like the idea of a gamer's like their battle station where it's got like 3 giant CRTs on there and like one of them's sideways that they can do programming on it or whatever. But it's just like laying on its side.
Okay,
And there's neon tubes all around the desk and all throughout the computer and stuff.
Hear me out on this. Not only that, but because of the concept of, like, everything is built around CRTs, the rest of the stuff also isn't particularly sleek or small. So, like, the like, computer itself is, like, the computers that took up an entire room. So it's just, like, it literally surrounds the desk that you're in.
I was thinking it would be a server rack, like a full server rack beside the desk. Your computer doesn't fit on your desk. Your computer fits the rest of the room next to your desk.
No, it's not that your computer does or does not fit on your desk. Your computer is your desk.
And now you can do that nowadays. People do that.
Yeah.
There are some really cool desk builds with computers.
But the reason this is different is because it's everywhere. Every desk in the room is part of the computer.
Yes.
Oh Oh god, you know what's the best concept to me in CRT Punk? Google Glass.
What?
Oh yeah.
Just the smallest possible CRT. It fits 12 pixels total.
Oh. Oh, that's... It's so small.
Like, in order to be that size, it would have to be completely useless.
You're like, all right, let's add another 3 pixels to this, and then like, you can't lift your head off the ground.
Like, Google Glass is hooked up to a backpack that houses the computing aspects of it. That you also have to be carrying around.
Oh.
See, this is the kind of thing that's like, yeah, I just want to, like, make a weird game in this world that has, like, it comes out of nowhere, and it's just this wild-ass, like, RPG or something that's in, like, a CRT cyberpunk world, and you're just like, okay, I guess this is happening. Why? Who thought of this?
Yup. You did.
I did something.
Alright. Well. We've vamped for long enough. I feel like...
Is it time for something
bring up
important
our-
now?
time for our first segment, which is actually your segment, I think, technically.
That you stole.
The
And
one that I did once and then you did 5 times?
I've
Exactly.
only done it twice, I think. This would be the 3rd time.
To be fair, I'd do more
Eccentric
with it
Subreddits!
if I'd do more with it if I wasn't also playing a game, because it's really hard to explain to subreddit while trying not to die.
So I found 3. Actually, I found 2, and Kristin found 1. But this is the segment where we talk about subreddits that shouldn't exist. Like, why do they exist?
Or at least
How
we're
do they
confused why
exist?
they exist. Here's
Yeah.
the thing. I think the most important part about the segment is that when you see these subreddits, you're like, this should exist, but there's no reason for it. Like, blurry pictures of cats, very dumb. Completely stupid. I love it to death. I want it
Yeah.
to always exist.
Now, I found a whole host of... It's basically... Do you remember when I talked about the Blue Discs subreddit?
Yes.
And then that
There were
turned
other
out to
colors,
include
too.
like red discs, brown discs, black discs, white discs.
Yeah, it was
yellow
just
discs,
like
etc.
it's. I love that they didn't make a Reddit, like a subreddit for pictures of frisbees. They were just like, nah, no, we're gonna split this up for some reason.
So, I found another series of these things that I don't know that they're technically connected at all, but it's maps without blank.
I helped with
So-
this one.
You did, yeah. This... I wasn't even gonna bring this up, but... There are like... Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 maps without blank subreddits. And it's like maps without New Zealand is the name of
Oh,
it. And it's a subreddit for just maps that don't include the island New Zealand.
so like, okay, are these things that people are making, or is it just maps that for some reason don't have it?
They're just maps that, for whatever reason, don't have it. At all. Like, why? So there's maps without New Zealand, maps without Europe, maps without Svalbard.
Is there maps without England, or just maps from a better world?
Yes, there is maps without the UK. Maps without Indonesia. Maps without Perth. Maps without Cuba. Maps without Tasmania.
That's what I
And-
found.
Maps without Tasmania
Maps
is
without
weirdly
everything.
specific. See, I would want one that's
My-
just like maps without countries that have a higher than 30% lactose intolerance, like percentage in population. It's like, why?
Really long name for a subreddit.
No? That's hashed up on the subreddit.
My favorite one is maps without everything,
So it's just
which
water.
are just no, it's just maps that they're like. Here's a map that includes the North and South America and Europe. It's just missing all of Oceania, Africa, Europe, some of I think Eastern Europe as well. Like,
I will say I love the idea that I've now thought of that like to go onto like maps without England, for example, and then just posting a picture of like the map of like Middle Earth. And, like, it doesn't have England in it. They're like, yes. But then the example I was going to use was New Zealand. I was like, well, that one's actually there, so that doesn't work.
So, moving on, another one that I actually intended to talk about is r/weird toilets. And they're just toilets that don't make any sense. Like, some of them are toilets like they're facing a wall, but like they're 1 inch away from the wall.
I feel like wait, see, where do you put your legs? You just have to like do a split?
You don't.
This actually reminds me of one of my favorite Twitter accounts that I've ever followed, Dark Souls Toilets, where they just post like horrible pictures of toilets that are reminiscent of areas in Dark Souls for various reasons. And like every single one of them that I know the area for, I'm like, yeah, that is exactly what that is. Or there's like one that has like 4 toilets facing each other, like aimed into the center of the circle of toilets, and it was just titled like, or it had the health bar of the 4 kings from the first Dark Souls game.
Like, there's a weird toilet that's the toilet is a skull, and you like pull off the top of the skull and take a shit in its brain sack. So like, that's.
I don't like the idea of looking down afterwards and that's the brain.
There's
There's a toilet that is a shoe.
a toilet like straight up in the corner, and then there's like a little wall. So it's like in 3 walls.
Yeah. There's toilets that are just wild design of the covers. There's a toilet where you get in Bugs Bunny's lap.
All right, that's I. If you had asked me to guess what part of him that you shit in, like, I think that would have been the last thing I picked.
And then probably the worst one, which I'm gonna put in memes and Joe jokes. And it's, I hate it. I hate it. It's so terrible. It's the worst thing I've seen in here. There's a toilet that the toilet tank is what I'm assuming is actually a fake toilet tank, because it's an aquarium with a betta fish living in it.
I feel like I've seen something like that, and it's horrifying.
Yeah, there's some weird toilets, and that's the name of the subreddit.
I hate the River Rock one. That, ugh.
Yeah, there's one where the entire bathroom is like cemented. It has like cemented river rocks onto it, including the toilet, including the inside of the toilet.
Yeah, the inside. That's what's really making it like that's supposed to be smooth.
You really gotta scrub to clean that out. Alright, I've got 2 more of these bizarro subreddits. There's mirrors for sale.
That's the one I found.
Yes. Can you guess what mirrors for sale is?
I can. I'm almost certain. Is it pictures that people have taken of mirrors that... I don't know if it's either with them in the picture or somehow without them in the picture.
It's with them. And these are almost all pictures for like Craigslist or Facebook sales or whatever. And it's pictures where you see the person in there. Ugh. And yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah, some people try and hide it, and a lot of these are not pictures of mirrors, but they're a picture of a TV that's turned off, and you can see the reflection, or an old glass door where you can see the reflection in. Yeah, it's all reflections for sale. And it's active.
People gotta fill their
6
ears.
hours ago, 3 hours ago, 6 hours ago. It's over. Yesterday. Yeah, like it's pretty dang active. And then the last one I found, which you know that bionicles are a thing.
Oh yeah. I did find like a
there's an
subreddit.
r/sexy bionicles. And they're all actual bionicles. It's not art drawn of a bionicle fucking another bionicle. It's actual bionicle Lego pieces put together, and it's designed to be sexy, I guess.
That reminds me of I have a GIF saved that I like came across on Twitter somehow, and it was a...
Oh gosh, you told me this.
It's okay. It is a stop motion, like breast expansion GIF of a bionicle, and like I saved it because I'm like, it's so lovingly made. Like the frame rate is really high. It's weirdly well done. Like I was like I don't want to say amazed by it because that I don't want people to think I think it's great. I was just like, this is like weirdly incredible, and I just hate that it exists, and I love that someone decided to do it. And that they
I mean, it's so
put their
weird
heart
that you have to look at it. Like, you're not into it, but...
I never said that.
You just can't look away.
Basically. Like, I showed it to someone recently because Bionicle came up, they're like, holy shit, you were right, that is really well done. But also it's really great to have in order to just send someone out of context.
But yeah, it all uses the bionicle pieces, but it's branched out a lot. So there's like a sexy bionicle piranha plant. Several people's OCs. Here's a Thwomp girl with giganto boobs. And it's like all pin-up pictures. There's 13 pictures of it.
Honestly, this subreddit sounds great that it exists. Like, this is one of those... it's a community I'm not in, and I'm proud of them for existing.
There's a Sexy bionicle dry bones. Mario.
Alright, what does that mean?
Dry babes. It's a dry babe. That's what it is.
How's it go?
r/sexy bionicles.
Such potential.
Oh gosh. Didn't get that far. That thing's got a schlong. Wow.
Wait, do you think sexy bionicles are only gonna be girls?
I mean, from what I had seen so far, yes. But wow. There's a Shy Gal. Bob-omb.
I'm waiting for you to be like, oh look, someone made Bazette.
I think that's what this is supposed to be, but it just looks like Bowser.
I mean, maybe sexy Bowser has a form.
Of course, there's.
I like the idea of someone calling it dry babes. It's like, well, girls don't have bones. I can't call it dry bones, that's wrong.
Yes. Because girls are just floppy bags of muscle. You don't have any bones.
But I really hate all of what his things in.
I mean, when the sins begin with girls, are just interesting. Just
But yeah, those have been the eccentric subreddits that I have found, and none of them are ones that I have subscribed to.
nope.
They are very weird.
I do like the post that I just
Why do
saw
they exist?
because I decided to look up while it was loading just to see, and I like that one of those posts is just called like "Who wants an ocean creating buff fish mommy girlfriend?"
Yeah. And they're pretty good.
They're very well done.
They're rather well designed, yeah. But also, why?
It will be my honor.
Oh. So what you been up to for the last 3 weeks?
Work.
Working together,
Ooh.
they successfully recaptured the
That's mostly
citadel.
it.
Doing anything fun?
Shortly thereafter, they found
I mean,
Rob,
probably. I just
who
don't
barely escaped from the
remember.
laboratory
I don't
after the
contain
Giga
memories.
clan infiltrated its walls.
I'm the worst
You
person
don't-
to ask about like how
Parties
things
soon
work. So I'm just
learned
like,
from Robbie that Pura had also
if you'd asked me
escaped
about it
from
that
the
day, maybe I'd
laboratory
remember.
and made her way to Fort Hateno in the Cluda.
I get that.
The stronghold
Been doing any art?
was besieged by
Um,
enemies.
A little bit. I actually went back to doing
Link
some
and the others departed promptly for Fort
pixel
Hateno.
art.
But
Did
who
like
would quell the
a
ceaseless
tarot
onslaughts of
card of like
guardians
one of my friend's
pouring onto
characters because
Hyrule
I was
Field
bored and
during
like
this time?
going through tarot art and like read one of the cards and I was just like, oh, that sounds like this character. I should draw them like that, and then I did it.
Nice.
Yeah. I want to do more because tarot card art is like a great starting point for art, I think, because you're just like, oh, I have a bunch of examples of this. I have a million examples of these things.
You needn't
And half of them are the
seem
same.
defeated.
So I can just
Together
also
we'll
draw
put
it the
a stop
same,
to
but
it.
with whatever else I want.
But how? Look
Nice.
how
Yeah.
many there are.
I would likely have
I
died
did a
if
little
it
bit of
wasn't
art,
for your courage,
and then
but I'm still here,
Done with art.
and Naboris still has its pilot.
Until I do.
I'd wager nothing can stop us.
By finishing art, did you mean you finished it on your terms or the art's terms? And that's why you don't want to do it anymore?
Both.
Exactly.
Both.
Because that's how a lot of my art ends, is on the art's terms.
Let's begin.
Thus, I'm like, maybe I'll
Will
just
you
do
take
this
my
in a couple
hand?
weeks. I'm just like, I'll never do art again, and like a month later, I'm like, oh, I should draw something.
I was painting something 4 weeks, no, almost a month ago now. Yeah, around about a month ago now. I was painting something and got to the point I was like, I hate this. Like, I want to finish this painting, but I hate the act of doing this.
Yes.
So I stopped. And I finished it 3 weeks later.
See,
Not having touched it at all during that time. I just came back to it and I was like, I guess I'll play.
See, I wish I could do that, because if anything enters my work in progress folder, it does not leave the work in progress folder. It is forgotten about and never thought of again.
That's the key, is it never left the easel. It just stayed
See,
there.
that helps, is that you have a physical manifestation of the art you're working on. That's
Yeah.
harder when you do digital art.
Yep. No, I've done that before with digital too, because like, you're right, if I save and close, it's done.
Yeah, so like, I'll if I leave the program up, I could do it, but I don't think I've ever been able to go back to it instead of just like, eventually getting frustrated that I had too many things to alt-tab through, because I still had the program up.
Yeah. I do that sometimes with editing things. Like, the videos from 3 weeks ago that we still haven't recorded an intro for, so it's still just sitting there with anxious about the fact that we haven't released it yet. Yeah, it was up as a in the editing program for 4 or 5 days before I finally just gave in and closed it. Ugh.
That's the thing where you're like, you know what, if this video wanted to be like finished, then it would have made it easy for me. So technically it's not my fault.
No.
Whatever, it's my fault, the editor, for not editing it.
It's it all. It's great. What are you talking about? Everything's from like a month ago.
Everything from a month ago? Did they make this mistake?
Yes. Yes, this is an April Fool's Day experiment. Okay, so each round will be presented with 3 images, but for the image you think will be the second most popular. The earlier you vote, the more points you can win or lose, the higher the stakes. Here we have show you vote counts just beginning of the round, the second highest number of votes.
That is certainly an interesting way to do a vote.
Yeah, everyone who voted correctly gets points, everyone who chose poorly loses points. The ranking will be shown in the leaderboard of r/second, and the best second guesser wins it all. don't know what it all is.
This sounds like something
Yeah.
that people would do with like their channel points on Twitch.
Like they show the leaderboard, and someone took a picture of the bottom leaderboard. There's like 929,959 is the top of this picture, down to 929,970. So the top is at 420, negative 420. So
Yeah.
they're at negative 420. It goes down for most of it to like negative 787. But like you can see like for almost 1 million people playing this, they're in the like minimum negative 3 digits. And then the very last person, negative 2,412.
It's like one person was particularly bad.
I don't know. I think they won.
Yeah, I mean they're at the. I think
know-
the bottom is.
If I wasn't in
If
first,
you're not-
I would want to be last, and that's the second option.
It looks like u/unknown developer won, but I can't see where the. It's just people saying that. I don't know where the actual leaderboard is. There it is. Oh, page not found. Figures.
I mean, that's not a big surprise.
Weird.
Making this
Why
easy.
did you bring this up?
Lady Urbosa, we've come so far. We must persevere until the battle is done.
A vie after my own heart. You never give in, huh?
How's the game going?
Oh, good. You know, there's lasers.
Can't watch it. Oh, lasers. Like you fighting the spider bots?
Oh no, you just have to divide these.
Oh, okay. I forgot how cringy
It's about
the
time.
official
What took them so
rules of the internet are on the website.
Does it say Haxor with 2 X's and an O?
Urbosa and Riju took
The
control of Varnaboris.
Rule
working to stem the
66
never-ending flow of
is a
guardians.
really cringy set of rules. The 66.1
Advantage of
is the cake is a lie.
Urbosa had provided.
Oof.
Why
Once
that
the
is a
party began the
that's a
assault on
rule for the
enemies
internet, I don't know.
surrounding
'Cause that's-
the original
66.2.
Fortitudo.
The lie is a cake. Can you guess what 66.3 is?
The cake is a cake.
No, the cock is a lie. Can you guess what 66.4 is?
The lie is a cock?
Yep.
Wow.
66.5, the cake is a liar.
Cake did nothing wrong.
66.6, the number of the beast. 66.7, Iron Maiden is awesome, no exceptions.
What?
Rule 66.8, unless you are GLaDOS. Rule 66.9, maybe GLaDOS is a lie, you'll never know.
Are you telling me there's a 66.9 and there's nothing mentioned about 69?
Correct? Then rule 66.10. Yes.
Yeah.
Point 10. Even if Gladys is a lie, AFH is still true. Refer to rule 334.3 and rule 93. Gosh, no! Not me. Not me.
No, not me! No, John, you already have the most experience with it.
I'm willing to bet Tim has more experience with it.
You have the most recent experience.
It's unfortunately true. Also, it's a horrible website. I just went to the website and it's got pop-ups and ads all over the place and
That sounds about right. Maybe era of the internet that was made in. I doubt it has been updated since. There are certain things about the dawn of the internet that I am glad that I lived through. Like, despite everything, the fact that like homo dancing exists is still the smartest thing in the world to me. And like, I would not want to live in a world where I didn't know what that was, even though I hate it. But things like the rules of the internet remind me how bad we truly were for a long time. Also, anything that has that could have been on Ebon's world.
the first, like, 9 or 10 rules are all about anonymous.
Why? I love Fortnite.
Oh! Rule 14. Do not argue with trolls. It means that they win.
That's true.
Rule 15. The harder you try, the harder you will fail. Rule 16. If you fail in epic proportions, it may just become a winning failure. What?
Okay.
Oh gosh. Rule 20.20. Rainbow Dash is about 20% cooler than you.
Christ.
It's amazing that I've...
in a show and then ruined the lexicon for way too long. I'm also obviously too happy to have lived in a time where like I feel
Oh yeah.
like I don't think I ever want to live in a world where like that hadn't happened to me.
And then there's the Rule 34s.
I didn't realize there were subsets of all of these rules.
Oh yeah. So Rule 34, of course, there's porn of it, no exceptions.
Yeah, it's what if there exists there's one of it.
Yeah. 34.2, there are ponies of it, no exceptions. 34.3, if it exists, there's an app for it.
Why is that under the porn
34.4.
one?
If it exists, there's a YouTube of it. 34.4 times 2. If it exists, there is a Lego of it. 34.5. If it isn't in Minecraft, there's a crafting idea video of it. 34.6. If it exists, there's a parody of it on YouTube. Which, almost true. Or at least back then it was.
Yeah, here's the thing: is a lot of those rules are no longer applicable. Cause like,
Yeah.
like even like just the pony one, that's been out long enough that, regardless of the fandom still existing, probably, I don't think they continue to make that for every single thing that exists.
Yeah. 34.7. If it exists, there is a Pokemon based on it. 34.8. There's dubstep of it. No exceptions.
I hate how
Also,
often they say no exceptions
not
when
anymore.
they're wrong.
Yeah. Dubstep, absolutely. That used to be true. Not anymore.
Yeah.
34.34. Everything IRL is on the internet. What does that mean?
I don't know. Like, I know people who aren't on the internet. Hey, Zelda used
Alright,
magic.
then.
She finally awoke to her power or whatever. That's important.
Rule 35. If no porn is found of it, it will be made. 35.2. If no pony is found, blah. 35.4. If no poop is found, it will be pooped. Why?
Well, that's
Why?
that means YouTube poop, yeah.
Maybe.
I'm fairly certain that
Maybe.
refers to YouTube poop.
That's probably what it is.
Does that make you feel any better?
A lot, actually. Like, significantly better.
Yeah, cause like that was such a prevalent genre for like such a long time, and like I think it's still a thing that gets made by like specific people.
It is. You want to know what's weird? I didn't get into that at all.
Oh, me neither.
Like, I didn't know it existed at all until I hit college and Tim showed me something.
Yeah, it's weird that out of all of us in the group, Tim is the one who is like the most into it. And it's, as far as I know, it's only videos related to Gaston from Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
That's the only one I know too.
Yeah.
And because Tim showed me.
Yeah.
But that's it.
I mean, I know that there are a lot of, okay, so it's one of those things that I have seen in, like, clips on, like, of, like, things that people have posted, and, like, I am amused by some of them. And, like,
Yeah.
it's, like, things that get posted that, like, when, like, the people, it's like people I follow post, and I follow them for, like, humor I like, so it tends to, like, line up with what I like more, but it's even then, like, clips, like, versus, like, some people do, like, full videos, like,
Yeah.
like 20 minutes. Although I do appreciate there's some people I follow who can talk like a YouTube hoop, like with the like word stuttering and like weird sound of like talking backwards and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
The YouTube.
It's basically
It's shitty YouTube.
yeah, that's the concept behind the name, I'm fairly certain. But it's basically people taking clips from something, often things that are, like, bad or well-known. So, like, for example, there is 1.5 million of them about, like, related to the Mario Brothers TV show, like, one specific section. And it's basically, like, them taking clips and, like, literally taking, like, 1/10 of a second clips from various things to make the characters like say other things and like nonsensical sentences and like just like really weird stuff that's like it doesn't fit like a traditional sense of humor, and I think that's why it like caught on with so many people because it's so wildly different than like it's the kind of thing that like people would laugh at like 5:30 in the morning when they like hung out with their friends all night.
Yeah.
Common one is the Gaston one, but it's like
Everyone
no
wants to
one
remember crazy old
fights
movie.
like crazy old Maurice. No one
Yes.
fights like crazy old Maurice. No one,
Yeah.
etc.
Okay.
It's similar to the
And it's trash, but-
the, like videos that someone did of Smash Mouth, where it's like the years start coming and they don't stop coming and they don't stop coming and they just like keep repeating that, but also pitch shifting it to sound like the song and just like crazy stuff. And you're like, okay. It's that kind of thing. It's a like honestly a genre that should be like studied, both by like scientists and like psychiatrists. Or
Alright, so
psychologists, I mean.
back to the rules. 35.35. If it is not on the internet, it must be my midnight.
It must be
35 point. Yeah, you gotta do it by midnight. 35.99. If no Mario Paint composer version is found of it, it will be made.
Also not really a thing as much, but like I'm sure still made by some
People are
dedicated
still
people.
doing it. Yeah, there's still some pretty good crews doing that.
Here's the thing: is like these are the kind of things that there are people doing all of these things, but it's some people doing it rather than what it used to be of everyone followed at least 3 people that did it.
Yes. Rule 35.infinity. The number of objects and situations yet to be pornified spontaneously decreases over time. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know what that means.
And then those are all the
Is it all the rules? They skip a lot of numbers.
no, those
but
are all
that's
the Rule 34 and 35 ones. What's the one that's
fine.
yeah. Okay. Let's see if that's correct in here. Yes. 63.2 is the inverse.
Wait, what's the inverse?
For every female character, there's a male version.
Oh, okay. I just assumed it would be one
Six-
rule for gender bin, but I guess that term wasn't around yet.
No, 63 is for every male character, there's a female version.
Like we've seen it.
63.3, for every asexual character, there's a version for each sex. No exceptions. I don't think they know what asexual
I don't think they know what asexual means. For every character that doesn't
Me too,
find,
either.
like, yeah, for every character that does not prefer to have sex, there is a girl. You're like, wait. That's
and a boy.
yes.
And an intersex.
Yeah, and every yeah, I guess they said sex, huh? So it's even weirder.
Yeah. 63.4, rules 63, 63.2, and 63.3 does not include real people. 63.5, real people are ruled unworthy. What?
This is so like edge. Like I don't think edgy is the right word, but like I don't have a better word for like what this is. Cringy is good. Though.
60,
Feeling weak,
63.6. Rules 63.4 and 63.5 are lies. Real people can and will be gender bent, no exceptions. What the fuck is this?
I love them saying no exceptions. They're like, you too. I will gender bend you, the person reading this.
Rule 69 is lol 69, am I right?
A worthy adversary.
Of course.
69 point, rule 69.2. If your question ends with am I right, the answer will never be yes.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Excellent.
That one's the only
one's
truthful
true.
rule here.
Actually, I'm gonna say rule 69 and the first part also is still true. it is so funny.
This rule.
Yeah, it's not the same kind of funny that it used to be, but it is one of those types of jokes that somehow still find, like, people still find ways to make it enjoyable. Like whenever
Yeah.
Rose would say, "Oh, 69, that's the weed number."
It's kind of meta funny now, I think is what it's become.
It's like somehow, like I don't think it ever went like bad, but it has still somehow swung back around.
Like Rule 39, cap lock is cruise control for cool,
Okay, that one is also still true.
Okay.
followed by the much better Rule 40, even with cruise control, you still have to steer.
I love when people just like give like incredible responses to these.
Rule 49, one cat leads to another.
What? What is that in reference to?
Just keep having cats.
I mean, the internet has been cats.
Yeah, I forgot that the intro or like the beginning of the internet was like the place any like ancient Egyptian would want to be as like oh, a temple to Bastet. But now we just have like cat-made cafes.
Rule 72, Darth Vader is your father, no exceptions.
But I hate how often they keep saying no exceptions and thinking that it's like a slam dunk.
Period.
Please tell me that there's a rule on this list that says the rules of the internet will always be funny, no exceptions.
I don't know.
Because that seems like something they would say at some point, and boy is it funny to think about.
Rule 72.2, except for Ash. No one knows whose Ash's father is, not even his mother. Which kind of saying a lot about his mother.
Yeah, that's some implications I don't like.
Yeah, so, Rule 87. If you get pepperoni ever again, I swear I'll blow this joint sky high. Rule 87.2. But you know I only like pepperoni. Rule
Is this a forum
87.3.
post?
Cheese pizza. Pizza is the best pizza. No exceptions. Rule 87.4. Sorry, all I got were shrooms, but we can still get high, right? What? A lot of these are just
like
Go ahead.
I need someone to make the modern day versions of this, and it's just like it is Wednesday, my dudes, no exceptions. And you're like, that's what? That doesn't make any sense. It's not Wednesday.
There are absolutely in-jokes in here, like Rule 90, it's never lupus, which is a reference to the TV show House.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it had to be Lucas at this once.
It's never lupus.
I feel like House made everyone who watched the show have absolutely no fucking clue what lupus was, but thought that it had some vital importance. Or either incredibly common or not existent.
Alright, I got to the end, Rule 100. It's bad. You're not gonna like it. Rule 100. Gay will not be tolerated. Which... This, definitely dates this.
Yup. That. Whew.
Whereas
Remember I
like now
talked
the
about
internet
there are
is
some things from
the
back
opposite.
then that straight will not be tolerated.
yeah, pretty much.
You know what? I feel like it's fair though.
So, do you think in another 20 years, 20 or 30 years, it'll be eighth are not tolerated, or
Wait, say again?
sexual are not tolerated in 30 years?
Yeah. In 30
Well,
years,
how do you think this goes? Do you think it'll either be ace are not tolerated, asexual,
Well,
or
there's a lot of
what's the opposite of-
dumbasses in like the LGBT community for some reason are like, ace doesn't count, and everyone's like, can you shut the fuck up?
well, yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
that's already
but
a
also
thing.
bi people. Nobody cares about bi people
Oh
either.
yeah, totally.
Bi people aren't gay, except you know the whole part about the yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm just like, okay, what am I if my gender is fluid? like,
Yeah.
like, none of these labels mean anything really. Like, it's just something that you
Yeah.
like. It's something you call yourself to make it easy to try to explain things. That's basically what these are. So, yeah, I
Yes.
think it counts. Fuck off.
yeah.
I think in 30 years it's gonna be nothing, because I think society will have fallen apart by then.
Okay, I was gonna say there's one of two ways you could say this, and one of them's patently impossible. It was, the option number one was that nothing because we're all going to have
Like, because
collapsed by then.
Or no, yeah.
And the other one is where it's a utopia, which isn't going to happen.
Yeah, especially not in 30 years. If you had said 100 years, that still wouldn't have been, like, feasible.
Yeah. How's the gas shortage treat?
Thankfully my wife and I actually both, like, filled up fairly recently. So, when everything, like, started, we were both like, we have, like, 2/3 of a tank. So, we just need to not go through all of that, I guess. And I think her car gets, like, pretty decent mileage, even though she's on, I guess, like, because she's on the highway for most of her drive.
Yeah.
And then, like, my work is, like, 10-ish minutes from here at most. And more than a little bit of that is at a stoplight. So, like, I'll be okay. I usually fill up once every, like, 2 to 3 weeks normally anyways. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, as long as we get I did see a post recently that's just like, how come we can hack absolutely everything in the world except smartphones? I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Literally every time this kind of thing happens, it just causes trouble for absolutely everyone. We're like,
Come on, why can't you do something good?
yeah, exactly. It's like every time like anonymous as a thing exists, people are like, I mean, if you have like the power to do literally any of the stuff you say, you would do any of it, and it would fix something, maybe, or at least make it easier for us. And yet, so far, you have done. Well, sometimes you hack a website and write something on it, and that's it.
Because Anonymous was here. Whoa. How exciting. I just...
also remember seeing some of like an article of people complaining that people were spending similar stuff on like sex toys and like alcohol and stuff. So like, what did you think a stimulus check is supposed to be used for?
Yeah, it's.
Do you think we're going to stimulate the economy by putting it in our savings account? Because that's literally not how it works.
Nope. That's not how stimulating the economy works.
You know, when you stimulate the economy by... Well, okay, to be fair, these are people who think that stimulating probably means that, like, they receive it.
I thought we weren't talking about sex.
Okay, I just remember the time that Christopher said, he said that if it gets wet at all, then you should see a doctor. Like, and everyone's just like, huh. And if I remember right, I think people, like, were laughing at him about that. He's like, I know how to have sex with my wife. We have a kid, and yes, we checked. It is mine. And people were like, why did you check? Why had you already checked before this conversation with us was happening? Why is this a thing you've already done? There's something beautiful about people, like, responding in a way where they think they've slam dunked you, and you're just like, wait, you just made it worse for yourself.
Yeah. Or people that just think they're clever, like that. Oh, well, Bernie, you gonna share your birthday cake too? It's like, yes, that is how birthday cakes work.
Well, someone apparently didn't have any friends on his birthday.
Like, if they had said share your birthday gifts, that would have, like, not really made
very
sense.
different.
But it would have, like, tried to prove the point that they were making, or thought they were making. But instead, like, that's so funny. You're gonna share your birthday cake? Like, oh no, I'm gonna invite people to my birthday and force them to watch me eat an entire cake that I will not share with them.
Yeah, that's just what cakes are for. You share them.
Oh, God, that's so funny. I don't think I realized that I don't think I ever, like, saw that was a conversation that happened, and that's so funny.
Yeah, it really is.
Love it. What? Gonna share your cake? Have you been playing any new games recently?
Not... Well, I played a little bit of Pokemon Snap.
Okay.
Which is not bad.
That's a game where you take pictures of Pokemon.
Yep.
Somehow sounding even more boring than Pokemon already does.
Are you saying you've never watched a nature documentary?
I have once or twice.
That's...
It wasn't exactly spectacular.
Yeah, and, like, understandable. Like, I'm not a huge fan of them either, but, like, that sort of fulfills the same type of feeling. Because, like, they do a great job, like, setting up the Pokemon in, like, a real-world-esque scenario. Like, you can sort of see them, like hunting for prey and, like, stuff like that. So it's like, oh, cool. Here's this thing that, like, this franchise
You
that
see
we
them
like.
walk.
Say again?
Can they walk?
Yes.
I can.
That.
It is my only actual knowledge of Pokemon.
It's very good. He can walk.
He can walk.
You've been playing Pokemon Snap. What else?
Aside from that, my wife and I are working through Tales of Vesperia.
Okay.
Specifically, we have beaten it, but we are currently working on the second EX dungeon, which is, you know, just like extra dungeons afterwards that provide like extra fights and like items and stuff like that. And definitely traditionally doesn't do them, but like I'm having us do it so that if we New Game Plus it, we actually have a bunch of like items and stuff to play with. Especially because So in these games, they have something called Mystic Arts, which is like your highest. It's like your special in like a MOBA or something like that. It's like the things that, or your ultimate. It's like the thing that like is hardest to do, but it does like a lot of damage, kind of thing. And there's one that shows up in most Tales games called Indignation. It's a really cool spell. I love it. And I tend to play mages anyways, so they tend to have that mystic. And in this game, for some reason, to get that spell, you have to like beat the game first, and then beat a like 100-man competition, like a 100-man melee they call it, which is just like 100 enemies in a row as just you only have one person. And then after you do that with 3 people, you have to do the 200 enemy version of it. And while you're in that, you have to use a specific attack while you're in a specific, like, overpower mode, while also, like, the enemy at a specific health bar. Also, that move you used, you had to have used it by, like, 200 times by this point in the game. Which isn't a lot, but I wasn't playing that character much, so I didn't use it. So I had to use it a bunch, just out of, like, on random enemies. And then you can get it for use in other things. And I'm just like, I just want this done so that we can play this later, because it's a really cool spell, and I hate that they, like, locked it. Because everyone else gets, like, 2 mystics. This is her second mystic. She can't use it until after you beat the game.
Oh.
As enjoyable as that game was, when we beat it, the ending of that story was not very good. There's a, like, human you meet several times named Duke, who, like, you can tell he's going to be, like, either, like, the final boss or a, like, the mini-boss before the final boss actually shows up. Like, Nurgle. Like, you see him all the time, but you know he's not the actual final boss, because the dragons that he summons is. It was like that, except that, the thing that you were actually trying to fight against, it doesn't show up. After you beat Duke, they kill him in a cutscene. And I was just like, wait, what? Wait, hold on! And like, you beat Duke. The entire idea is like, Duke knows how to defeat the thing that's trying to destroy the world, and he hates humans despite being one because of like a war that had happened and usual tragic backstory. So, he's going to sacrifice humans in order to defeat it. But you've come up with a different way to defeat it, and you want to show that, like, people can change or whatever. And so you fight him, you beat him, but you don't kill him, obviously. And then during the cutscene, they don't have enough power, so then he just decides to join in and help out anyways. And then, that's it. It was just like, huh,
that's not satisfying at all.
That feels like we missed, like, it feels like we just, we just kind of needed to tie a bow on this story and ship it, and this was the best we had. It felt like Act 3 just needed a little bit more stuff, and especially that part needed more stuff.
Yeah.
What happened? Like, I legitimately do not know what could have happened, because, like, it just doesn't feel like it was complete. Like, it's the fact that they just defeat it in a cutscene. And, like, you knew that you were gonna have to face the thing longer than, like, at least, like, out of game, I saw Duke the first time, and I was like, oh, he's the final boss. He has white hair. Obviously, he's the bad guy. Like, mysterious robed figure with long white hair, and he's just very anime looking. He's definitely the big bad. But, like, as the story went, he sort of helps you out a bit. Like, I got the feeling that, like, he's not the big bad, really. He's just, like, misguided, so you're gonna have to fight him anyways. But, like, there's this... the Autophagos, that's what it was called. It was this, like, alien life form that was actually not alien. It was, like, creatures from this world that had been morphed evil by its power or whatever. And so, okay, cool. I knew we would have to fight that part eventually. So that's probably the actual big final boss. He's just the... okay, never mind. He's the big bad, I guess. Cool. And then after you beat him, you can do some EX dungeon, find a couple of items, and then go fight him again, and he gets a third form. that is not relative to the Autophagos or really anything that they tell you about. He just has a third form now.
A random third form.
Yeah, where he gets even more anime than he was in his second form. Because this time, his hair turns black, and he has swords that float around him telekinetically. So you know he's edgy.
Wow.
But on the bright side, it's one of the best games in the world because one of the party members that you can play as is a dog with a sword in his mouth.
Okay, you know, that wins. Yeah.
It's the only Tales game that has, so far, that has allowed you to like just play as a quadruped, but also just like an animal in general.
Yeah.
And he's like super fun to play as. Like Stephanie played as him the whole time, but it's just like it's not even like a fantasy dog who like can talk. He just is a regular dog who also fights with a sword. Like he can understand you guys probably like in the same way that a dog normally does. And they sort of like sometimes the characters will like speak for him in the ways of like, oh yeah, he's probably saying these kinds of things because like that seems to be what he's about. But that's it. Like there's a side quest where he has like a rival dog, and so they have like the rival dog is like making trouble in a town, so they have a contest to see who like owns the place, and the contest is who pees in the most places. So you have to go around the entirety of the map and pee in places to mark your territory.
That checks out.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And like
That
during
makes
that side
sense.
quest, when that dog shows up and like Rapide goes to like talk to them, the other characters just sort of like walk near them and speak for them. And so I don't know if like if any of what they say is canon or if they've just made it up. And it's so funny to me that they're just like, yep, this is a quest now. Go pee in places.
I mean,
Right.
that sounds like a legitimate way of deciding who owns the area.
Yeah, it was great. I love that like we didn't do that quest because it's very long and very difficult to like make sure you get to all the places. But I love that it exists.
Are you gonna pick up Tales of Arise later this year?
Almost certainly. I am very excited to like see what it's about. Because like we've seen some stuff for it and like it's weird because it like Tales have never had a consistent art style necessarily, but they've all been fairly like cartoony and fantasy kind of thing. And this one still has that, but it's a lot more like realistic in some ways.
Okay.
And it's like not bad, it's just like new. And I'm interested.
Everyone.
I've never played a Tales game.
I've only played 3, so like, no, I've played 4 now. They're very fun. I really like them. They're really.
Vesperia, Berseria, Symphonia, and what else?
I've not played Symphonia actually. I've played Berseria and Zestiria, which are game and prequel. Berseria was like a prequel set 1,000 years in the past. Then I've played Vesperia and Tales of Graces, which is one of my favorites because it's just like it's wild. Also, so I mentioned Indignation before, which is like a powerful mystic that like mystics are supposed to be like hard to get to cast, but like do crazy like it stops time and does like a cool cutscene to deal damage. Like that's how like they're meant to be really cool and cinematic and fun. There's a character in Tales of Graces who has Indignation, but it's not a mystic art, it's just one of the spells she can cast. She's also the healer.
Okay. Yeah, that's not overpowered at all.
I mean, it has a long cast time, but you can, like, it's fun because, like, in that game you shorten your cast time by doing attacks first. So you, like, chain up attacks and then do arts to, like, shorten the speed of it. But you also only have a limited number of points to use, and so like Indignation costs like 8 points, and every attack in your chain costs 1, 2, 3, 4. Like it costs slightly more for each one, so you have to like plan out how many points you have and how many attacks you can use to like speed it up and stuff. It's really fun. I end up paying very little attention to the enemies because I'm spending my time attacking and healing and like casting dumb spells that don't matter.
What are you?
Also, you remember Master Koga, the really shitty like boss of the Sheikah, or not Sheikah, the other dudes, the bad guys?
Yes.
So he just joined us,
Huh?
so we can play as him now. We can eat bananas for some reason. One of his attacks is like he charges through enemies, but like it's not even him. It's like two of his servants pick him up and run through enemies, holding him as though they were like his chair. Like he's horrible to play as, but his animations are very hilariously done, and certainly like they had fun with him.
He's a humor character.
Yes, absolutely he is. Top banana
He's
of the
not-
Yuga clan. Because, you know, they like bananas. Do you get it? It's a funny joke they made.
So are you watching any anime?
We are...
I know you will be next season.
What's next season?
The second season of the Maid Dragon.
Oh, yeah, I might see that. I'm currently... I'm sadly, like, waiting for the dub of something because, it's what I'm used to, considering I watched the first season in it.
Yeah.
Of Zombieland Saga.
Okay.
And I greatly enjoy that one because, like, the dub that I watched of it, and they've updated it since, but you can still watch this version of it, is, it dubs everything but the music, which I just, like, prefer the Japanese on it just because, like, it's much harder to translate lyrics to a song than just, like, regular speaking.
Yeah.
Because, you know, rhyming and matching up to speech at the same time, and, like, there's just so much that I'm just like, I'm cool with the originals. And also,
Yeah.
I just really like this music anyway, so sure. I love that every time I mention that I watch a dub of something, I feel the need to, like, explain that why I like it and, like, justify it. Because I know I will get yelled at by someone. Not you guys necessarily, but someone... Maybe that's how we need to get viewers, is just say that we like dubs and put it on YouTube and see if everyone
I've done it.
feels like their, like, third sense tingling to come in and yell at us.
You know, I didn't see it as one of the rules of the internet, but I'm pretty sure it should have been.
Oh, yeah, see, dubs were, like, I think at the time that the rules of the internet were made, dubs were not as, like, hated by everyone because half of the way people watched YouTube, or watched anime, was finding bad dubs on YouTube in 1 out of 9, like 9-part videos that you had to watch one at a time
gosh.
in, like, 144p.
Too many times. Too many times have I done that.
Yeah. That is like one of the strangest parts of the internet. Like that time period where people were like, I want to see this, so I have to go to YouTube and watch 3-minute videos until I see a whole episode. Oh darn, part 7 got deleted somehow.
Yeah, no, I had that.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to go, you'd have to go find, like, somebody else's, because it wasn't just one person that did 9 videos for this one episode of this show. 3 other people were also doing the same episode split, but it wasn't always 9. It would be 8 or 7,
Yeah,
and you gotta,
so to
you gotta
figure out
kinda,
where the part that you watched, like, ended. Yeah, no,
And the quality was different.
yeah, and there's like, and it's like not dubbed at all. It's subbed or.
Yeah.
Oh.
Man, that was definitely a time that we lived through.
I don't watch dubs anymore. Not because I have any problem with dubs, but because when I'm watching an anime, it's because the anime just aired in Japan.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, like, some of the like, Zombieland Saga, the first season of it, which is, I don't think I watched it when it first came out, but it was, like, soon after, but it was simulcast, so, like, it was dubbed, like, within the week that it went up in Japan.
Nice.
And, unfortunately, that's what the plan was for this one, and then COVID happened.
Yeah, that
And that
messed
has,
up a bunch of things.
yeah, which is very frustrating.
Like a bunch of people's lives. There are definitely some dubs that are not good.
Oh
like,
yeah.
at all. Like professional dubs that are just trash.
Yep. And some of them are like, okay, there are like 3 qualities of dubs, I think, and one is like incredibly good. Such like Full Metal Alchemist, all those dubs were like
Cowboy
super
Bebop.
well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's like garbage tier, which like I think that can be broken down into like a lot of them are horrible, but like some of them are just like a product of their time. Like going back and rewatching the Trigun dub, I was like, yeah, it's just old. Like I don't think it's horrible.
It's just old. Yeah.
Like the voice direction was probably not great at the time, but like it's not the worst thing I've ever heard. And then there's then there's garbage. Like you hear it and you're like, wow, you've made all the wrong choices in this dub. And then there's, wow, you've made all the wrong choices in this dub. I love it so much. I have to watch it every single time. Like, there are some horrible dubs that I will never watch the sub of.
But I think I've only seen like 3 or 4 things. No, I've seen a bunch more than that dubbed. Because I did
on shitty YouTube quality videos, you probably saw some dubs.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those were subs, shitty subs as well.
Shitty subs were the best because you had to watch it like 144p, so like the subtitles weren't especially easy to read.
Yeah. I know I did Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood dubbed. Full Metal Panic I did dubbed.
Full Metal Panic dub was good. That one.
That was a good dub.
I don't think I could ever watch that sub. Like it was too. Like I think that one sort of fit in the so bad it's good type of category.
Yeah, I have since switched to watching it subbed because the newer stuff again. It's not getting dubbed. Because yeah, there's newer Full Metal Panic. They released a season
gonna be Fumofu?
last year. No.
Because that's what's sad.
Full Metal Panic Fumofu is the greatest mecha anime of all time, and I told Wombat that, and he didn't believe me at all. And he rattled off a bunch of other names of mecha anime, and I don't. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what you mention, it will not beat Full Metal Panic Fumofu.
Does Fumofu count as a mecha anime? I know Full Metal Panic.
There's mecha in it. There's mecha in it.
I don't know if those are considered mecha. I think those are.
At the very.
I think those are like bear suits that have technology in them. I don't think that counts. Unless you're referring to other mecha that I do not remember existing.
No,
because it's been a long time.
I'm referring to the bear mecha that.
Oh god, I should rewatch that at some point. That was such a fucking ridiculous anime.
Because I was talking to Wombat about it, I started watching it again. I watched a couple episodes of it. Just, it's so good.
Does it like hold up,
so
or is
good.
it like you hear it and you're like, yep, this is the worst, I love it?
I mean, the audio is pretty bad, but it's, I don't know. I still love it.
I mean, like, The World God Only Knows is a trash anime in like every respect. It's one of the dumbest concepts for an anime I've ever seen. This is the one that's it's a quote-unquote harem anime, but like at the end of each episode, the current conquest loses their memory, so it's not really a harem anime until the second season, where goddesses appear in their bodies and they sort of get memories back. It's a weird anime, but the main protagonist, but the main protagonist is chosen to like do the like harem anime stuff because it's like a demon that like resides in the hole in someone's heart, so they have to fall in love with someone to like exorcise it, and he plays a lot of dating sims. So he's chosen to do it, even though he has no desire for 3D girls, as he says. He only plays dating sims.
Oh god.
But now he has to do it. So he treats it like dating sims and talks about like events and like how you have to have bad events sometimes in order to have a better event later to get enough points to balance out and stuff. And you're just like, I hate this. This is the worst. I hate how like computational he has made this, but also, sure. It's only because it's pretty like made clear that he's kind of just an asshole and like you're not supposed to like empathize with him.
Yeah.
But, like, the reason it's so good is just because of how, like, over the top they went with it in a lot of ways. For example, at the end of the first season, where he talks about how he hasn't had time to play all the new dating sims that's come out because he's been having to go on dates with girls, which is the worst. So he locks himself in his room to play all of the dating sims, and he starts playing them, and he realizes that, like, he only has like the weekend, so he's not going to have enough time. So he sets up a second console to start playing 2 at the same time. But that's not going to be fast enough either. So then he has like 4, and then like 8. And then like there's a point where it shows him in like a chair, and there's like a circular bar around the chair that has like 16 controllers on. So that he can play 16 of them at one time. And like the like assistant character, I guess, like the one who like gave him the task and like became his little sister, I guess. I don't know. Anyways,
yeah.
She's like, it's not in a weird way though, thankfully.
This is anime. I'm just accepting
Yeah.
it.
She peeks in the room to see him doing it, and she's just like, oh my god, he's so involved in this that he grew extra arms. And then she looks for a bit, she's like, oh, never mind. It was just after images. Never mind, it's not a big deal. And we're like, what do you mean that's not a big deal? He's playing 16 games at once and developed after images in order to, like, that's how fast he's moving. And apparently that's a disappointment compared to just growing arms. It's like, that's how this season ends. And you just have to like, okay, I guess that's just what is going on. Neat. And the dub is probably around the same quality as like Fumofu, I think.
Okay.
I don't think I can ever watch it sub because what if they take it seriously? Because this sub almost certainly didn't take it seriously, and I think that's why it was so good. Is because like you watch it, you're like, oh, they definitely don't give a shit. Like they tried to do a decent enough job with it. They just didn't care enough to make it perfect, and that's so much better for this weird ass show.
Yeah.
Also, the music is weirdly good. The opening credits song, the full version of it is like 8 minutes long and has 3 movements. Don't know why. It also has a harpsichord in it. And that's one of the main instruments used in one of the movements.
Are you a camel right now?
Yeah. We're also watching Devil's Apart right now. I heard about a long time ago, but never watched.
There's another season of that coming out.
Yes.
Soon.
Which is
Ish.
interesting because the first season was like 5 years ago.
Yet they're bringing a bunch of stuff back, like the fact that Fullmetal Panic had another season relatively recently.
That was
Now,
a while ago.
They need to come back and finish that storyline that they did, because they ended it at a horrible place.
Listen, I watch Heroic Legend of Arslan, and don't talk to me about ending the anime in a bad place. 2 seasons of a show that ends with the greatest cliffhanger of all time of, alright, it's time to go recapture the kingdom, but from my father who's the actual king because I think he's a bad person and I want to be better than him. Anyways, guess we're not getting into season 3. And you're just like, what? I've never been so sad.
So what are the Guardians fighting? Like, what are the armies that the Guardians are with?
Just, you know, bokoblins and skeleton boys and just, you know, random mooks.
Okay.
Just, you know, it's the challenge.
Why are they
missions
helping
of,
them?
Just go kill everyone. Cause like,
Okay.
it's, okay, so, even in regular games, or regular, like, Breath of the Wild, that's a thing, but it's really just like, they're bad guys, so they're servants of Ganon. Like, they've never given it, like, I don't think they've ever in any Zelda game given a reason why, like, the random, like, monster creatures of the world are just inherently Ganon's friends.
But I meant, like, why are the Guardians helping them? Oh, don't start a new one, by the way.
Oh, okay. Well, the Guardians are, corrupted by Ganon. So...
Oh, okay.
So they, like, are also his control.
Is Ganon just like the scapegoat?
I mean, like, he's, like, the everything... Especially in this... In, like, this universe, the, like, Breath of the Wild ones, because it's just, like, you don't even see him till the last, like, battle. Like, he's just, like, the, like, omnipresent, like, evil force hanging over your head. It's like the moon from Majora's Mask if at the very end you just fought the moon and that was it. But you never saw the mask the entire time.
Fight the moon!
I was, like, sad when I got to Ganon, because I'm like, oh, he's not even, like, he's not even, like, Ganondorf. He's just Pig Ganon. And then
The
that's
beast.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess worked for, like, the old games, but, that's because you didn't need story for those ones. But,
That's why this is not a good Zelda game.
But I'm certainly enjoying Devil as a part-timer because it fulfills the very hilarious and strange type of genre that I've now found that I like, which is the reverse isekai, which is people from an incredibly powerful magical land are now on Earth and just don't really know what to do with their lives.
Yep.
But they sure are here now. And so it's just like, oh yeah, the devil just has a... Like, the first episode is, like, why they show up, then them trying to, like, get a like, place to live, and then, like, during the commercial break, there's just, like, a 6-month time skip. Like, suddenly it just cuts to them in, like, normal clothes afterwards, like, already, like, speaking good English and everything, and, like, just having a job and being domestic and stuff, and I'm just like, that feels like a lot of important or funny things that we just, like, skipped over, but sure, let's just go for that. I do appreciate some of the, like, the way they do the humor in it, though. There's a like, fight that he does once he has some power back, and it's like, he pulls his fist back to punch, Lucifer, like, one of his old generals, and, like...
Yeah.
You know the, like, circular, like, magical rune circle type things, like, generic as a concept? Like, 6 of those appear behind his arm, and you're like, oh, he's gonna punch him really hard. And then it, like, cuts to a wider shot, and just rune after rune shows up till there's, like, 50 of them. And then it cuts to, like, a shot of the city, and the line just keeps going for the entire length of the city. And then it just, like, cuts wider till you just see the, like, magical shell that he put around, like, a slightly large section of the city. And it just turns into, like, an energy ball of where he punched the guy. And you didn't even get to see the punch, but you're just like, yep, he fucked that guy up, huh? But just the, like... It's like that one anime sequence that I don't know what it's from, or if it's even a real thing and not something someone made, but it's just like that 2 guys where, like, one guy teleports behind another guy, and then he teleports behind him, and then they just keep teleporting behind each other over and over until they're, like, in a different place completely. Like, it had that feel to me, where it's just, like, a thing that's normally cool that's just turned into, like, insane humor. And I'm just like, it's like, it has One Punch Man vibes to me in that type of, like, weird, dumb humor.
Yeah.
Was Season 2 of One Punch Man good? I feel like I heard it was, like, not as good, and, like...
Not as good, for sure.
Yeah.
Because it, like, Season 1 had... Like, it was good mostly because, like, it was funny seeing how One Punch Man would deal with the next threat. I mean, like, we all knew what the answer was. He was going to punch it once, and then it would be gone.
That's why I like that.
But it was
show
still
so much.
hilarious at the exponential growth of like, oh right, this thing can destroy the universe,
Yeah.
and then
And then he uses
punches
his
it once and it's
final
gone.
special mega attack, multiple consecutive punches, and kills it instantly.
Yes.
It's just I think that's what's so great is every time I watch that show, like, I got a sense of, like, interest in every villain, and then he killed it in one punch again. I was like, I don't know why I thought something different was gonna happen. I just, like, forgot for a second what I was watching, and I thought that there was gonna be any amount of, like tension.
Well, 'cause he tries not to punch it because he wants a good fight.
Yeah, like, that's why it
Yeah.
was so good, is because you know that, and so you just forget that he could just do it whenever he wants. And then he just does it, and you're like, oh, right. That's a thing that happens in this show.
I really like the part where he's like, ah, yes, finally, a good, the fight, and then just one normal punch and it's gone.
Yeah. I appreciate the, like, final fight from the last episode where, like, the alien king or whatever that he punched and killed, like, he was just like, hey, that was a good fight, and the king's just like, no, it wasn't.
You lied.
You barely tried. And you're just like, yeah. I'm just like, at least he tried to be nice to him after he killed him.
Yeah.
I'm sure, do you know about the fighting game that they made about that? About One Punch Man?
No.
So, when you make a fighting game about One Punch Man, there's an obvious problem, right?
Yeah.
Is he could just kill anything in a punch, so how do you put him in the game? But they found a way to make him playable in a way that makes a lot of sense. Which is that
Okay.
when you don't actually pick him in the character select screen at all. But you can pick Moomin Rider, who can't do anything. Like, he does almost no damage, and, like, none of his moves are good, and, like, he doesn't have a lot of health. But Saitama's on his way to save you. So as long as you survive until he shows up from the store, then you get to play as Saitama and, like, instantly kill your opponent.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
You get, like, the top right corner of the screen is, like, a cut-in of him running really fast to get to you. And it's just there for the entire fight with, like, a timer on it. And I'm just like, you did it. Like, that is the funniest and best possible way to include this bullshit overpowered character in your fighting game and make it work.
Yep.
Yeah. Alright, that's it for us for this week.
Yeah.
We'll see ya next week for probably the same thing.
Probably.
Oh, really? Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, Tim's still out. And we don't want to play the game with just the two of us.
Yeah.
We could do it if we tried, but just the two of us is,
Even who would punch things
you and I.
and get drunk?
Not Tim.
Yeah.
Hasn't punched anything or gotten drunk.
Yeah.
That's true.
Alright, bye everyone.
Bye.
Okay, cool. Now I can
Now
save.
I'm even more charming.